Handling sensitive information of our people, patient notes, things like that. We're going to use the P word, sorry Andrew. We use Clinico, as you mentioned, which is a cloud app. We use Microsoft 365, so that gives you email, SharePoint, which is file storage, Teams for collaboration. So you need to know a bit about how we handle that information securely. So what are we talking about? What sort of information? Pretty obvious. This is taken from Australian government privacy legislation. So obvious things that are sensitive to an individual, and then there are a few things that are even more sensitive. Let me just have a quick look through that list. So that just gives you an idea of some of the things you may be coming across, and we have an obligation to protect that. What happens if we don't protect it? Well, identity theft is a big thing at the moment, as you've probably heard in the news. Extortion. There was a case in Europe where hackers got into a psychology service and stole all the patient notes, and then contacted all the patients saying, if you don't pay us, we will release all your confidential discussions with your psych to the public. So extortion, in some cases, especially if somebody is a domestic violence victim, for example, who has left, it can threaten their physical security if their location is divulged. And for HMS, reputational and legal consequences. Okay, so what sort of nasty things can happen? So in yellow is the risk, and in white are some very quick bullet points on things to consider to mitigate the risk, to reduce the risk. You cannot eliminate the risk in cybersecurity. I'm a firm believer after 40 years in corporate technical IT, which has made me quite paranoid about security and a love-hate relationship with computers. But this is what I've discerned over the years. And this is a cut-down presentation of what I normally give. We found it was terrifying too many people, so we cut it. Your devices, your laptops or your phones can be lost, stolen or infected, which is my biggest worry, because you'll be using your own personal devices, and I have no idea what you download on your personal devices and what other family members have access to play games and things. So we don't issue everyone with company laptops. So if you're still running Windows XP or Windows 8 or something old like that, please update it. We're up to Windows 11 now, far more secure. And there's a feature on it called BitBlocker, which encrypts your disk drive, which guards against the information being accessed if your laptop is lost or stolen. Make sure you've got a strong PIN on your phone. I'll talk a bit later about strength of PINs and passwords. Keep all those annoying software updates up to date. They're actually closing holes that the hackers use to get in. They're bugs that have been found that the hackers have been using, so the software companies issue updates. So keep everything up to date. Back up your data if you don't want to lose it, and ideally encrypt it with a password, again, so that the sensitive data isn't lost. And we'll talk a bit about managing passwords securely as well. As I mentioned, with BYO device, as we say, sharing is not caring. We don't want teenage family members accessing any sensitive information that's on your device, say patient notes. So we ask you to remove any sensitive information after you've uploaded it to Clinico. Phishing, I suppose most of you have heard about phishing or smishing, which is the SMS variant of it. Trying to get you to type in your username and password to a fake login site. There's a thing called two-factor authentication where the easiest one and not the most secure one, I'm afraid. You used to get you get sent a code, 6-digit code to your phone that you use when you log in. Some of you may have used that. Where you can turn that on any of your logins, please do so. It is essential nowadays to help protect your logins in the cloud, but it is not foolproof, so be suspicious of any message. I don't take any calls, don't believe who they say is calling or who's messaging me. I always say, okay, well, if there's an issue, I'll call your organisation, and that way I know I'm in touch with the true organisation. If you are using two-factor authentication, let's say you're getting SMS messages, if you start getting them in the middle of the night, that's a red flag. It probably means your password's been stolen and the hacker is trying to repeatedly log in and hoping that you'll give up and just say yes, give permission to get in. Check your to address when you're sending emails. Quite often sensitive information is sent outside the company or outside of the intended recipient simply by a typo in the to address. And as I said, make sure you take the data off your own personal devices once you've uploaded it to the secure storage of Clinico. In some cases we password protect documents, but you'll be informed of that if you come across it. By the way, if you hate computers and don't know how to use them, don't worry, that's what I'm here for. I'll take you through the basics, remotely get into your machine if necessary to help you out. So don't be panicked by any of this. So there's a website run by an Australian security researcher that has become almost a global reference. Even law enforcement are starting to use it. Pwned is hacker slang for owned or hacked. And this researcher collects all of the stolen passwords he finds on the dark web, or email addresses and passwords that he finds on the dark web. And what you can do, if you go to that website, or if you're really high-tech, you can pull that up on your phone right now and type in your email address, and it will tell you if that email address has been seen on the dark web. So let's say you've used that email address.
Fascinating.
Let's say you've used your email address to register for the library, let's say, and the library's been hacked. So the hacker now has your email address and the password you used at the library. That will hopefully show up on this website. If you have been breached, the important thing is to change that password on that account and anywhere else you have used the same password. Now this leads us to the issue of reusing passwords. If you use the same password in the library as you use on your email, let's say, or your internet banking, then if the library gets hacked, the hacker has the log-on details for your email, for your banking, etc. So really, you need to use a different password for every site. And that's where password managers come in, and we'll talk about a bit about that in a minute. So that's what this exercise is all about, is saying, yes, you've probably been breached already and you didn't know it, and that's why passwords are so important, and using unique passwords on different sites. Any questions on that, on the concept? Okay. That's called password reuse, and the hackers will try using that combination on Facebook, email, all these sorts of sites, seeing if they can get in with those stolen credentials. They may try to get your password reset. If you've used easy security questions, some sites ask for security questions, mother's maiden name, things like that, and you can use that to reset your password if you've forgotten about it. So make sure those security questions aren't easy, that they're not readily available on social media, you haven't given that information away. because they do use that to try to reset your passwords. Sometimes I ring the help desk trying to impersonate you, saying, I forgot my password, can you reset it please? So again, why you should try to protect your personal information, not just give it out there on social media. Brute forcing of weak passwords. So if you use a password like password 1, that's no obstacle to the hackers, because they load whole dictionaries into their hacking software and they try every combination, every word, and then they uppercase things and lowercase things and put exclamation marks at the end of all of these words. So don't use an English word. And common passwords like password 1 is another thing they'll just try. If they've got your email address, they'll try all the common passwords, and they maintain these dictionaries of thousands of top 10,000 most common passwords that people use on the internet. And this is all done in software. It's not somebody typing it in. It's a program that's trying all these combinations. Which leads us to, well, how strong is a strong password? Do you think 6 random, totally random characters would make a strong password? Not an English word, just gibberish. How long would that take to get hacked? If you go to this website, it gives you an indication of how long a typical password will take to be hacked. So that will take 7 milliseconds, 7,000ths of a second on average to hack. Okay, we forgot that we need to add symbols and numbers and upper and lower case to make it really hard. How long will that take? A bit harder, 5 seconds to crack. Okay, let's go to 8. 8 hours, we're getting somewhere. We can see length matters, but it's still an overnight run for the hackers program. Okay, let's go to 10. Now we're getting somewhere. Okay, so really your password should be at least 10 totally random characters. But they do need to be random. If you're lazy and you just run your finger across the top 10 characters of the keyboard, that's one of the ones they know. That's one of the common ones. Okay, so we do have to take passwords seriously. I've taken the slide out on password managers. So a password manager is an app that you can get on your phone typically or on your laptop that you store all of your various passwords in, and you have one master password to get into that. Some people say, but isn't that a risk? Because if they get the master password, then they've got all of your passwords. True, which is why I don't put my full password in my password manager. I use the password manager to generate at least 10 random characters, and then I copy that out of the password manager, paste it into the login, and then add something on the end in my head. So if they crack my password manager, they haven't cracked all of my passwords. They've only got part of all of my passwords. But you really need to do that nowadays in order to manage the threat environment. Any questions on that so far? So,
Peter, I've got one question.
Yeah.
Do you have specific authenticator apps that you recommend?
They're all pretty much the same in terms of the algorithms that they use. So the most common 2-factor method is SMS, but what happens is the hackers will, if they can get enough of your details, let's say I'm with Telstra, they'll go into a Telstra shop and say, hi, I'm Peter Gray, here's my details, I want I've got a new phone and I want a little nano SIM, one of the smaller ones, because my other phone was an old one, it's got a bigger SIM. And so I'll give the hacker, if they can convince them, they're me, they'll give the hacker the SIM, so the hacker has access to my phone service. So my phone will go no service, it'll come up on his phone and he'll get the SMS. So there's a few variations on that sort of technique. They may go into a Vodafone store and say, hi, I'm Peter Gray, I'm with Telstra, I want to change to Vodafone, can you give me a new SIM? same thing, gets control of my phone number. So, the next best thing are authenticator apps. Look like this. So they're the digits, the codes that change every minute. So instead of getting an SMS, I just look up the account that I'm logging into, and there's the code, and this is synchronized to the cloud server that you're logging into. So that's a more secure way of having that second factor. And the third way is you can actually get little physical USB thingies that plug into your phone. They worry me because the risk of losing them, because you can lock yourself out of your accounts. By the way, if a hacker does get into your email account, it's the keys to the kingdom, because not only can they see all of the information you've been sending, quite often people will be applying for jobs, so they'll be sending passport photos via email, that's left in your sent folder. So when they get in, they actually download all your sent folders and things like that, and then start trawling through them, looking for information. The other thing they do is, because most of your logins on the internet to other portals are based on your email address, they'll go to all those portals and they'll put in your email address. They don't know your password, but they'll click forgot password. So the password reset email comes back to the email account that they're in. So you really do have to protect your email accounts nowadays. They're the keys to the kingdom. So be suspicious, be paranoid, like me, but that would impact your mental health. Be suspicious, use strong, unique passwords, and therefore you may need a password manager. If you don't want to use a password manager, that's okay. Write them down in a book and put them in a safe or something like that. Two-step authentication, back up your data, and keep things up to date. Any questions? Email that says, hey, there's been a problem with your email account, click here to log in and fix it. Don't click on the link. Go to your browser, go to that site and log in directly yourself. Okay, never click on links. If in doubt, send them to me. I'll tell you if they're legit or not. But it is hard.